topic is on 5 reasons why meditation and silence is good for you. When I say meditation, usually what comes to mind is sitting and breathing in and breathing out, sitting in one spot and breathing in and breathing out. But when I'm talking about meditation, what I mean is the act of the act of reflecting on the act of reflecting on those people around you, the act of reflecting on your creator, the act of reflecting on the sky, the earth, the sea, yourself. And it's it it generally requires you to sit in silence, because in order to think and observe and meditate, you will need to be silent, and you will need to get away from all the distractions or anything that's getting in the way. So the reason number one is meditation gives you a sense of calm and peace. And when you start reflecting on the things around you, you start looking at things in a different way. That actually takes you out from your own emotions. It gives you that space from your surroundings. It gives you that space that eventually that sense of reflection leads to calm and peace. It calms your emotions. You're more peaceful. You're at ease. You're not really thinking. You're not in that position of thinking because you're so focused on that. You're so focused on what you're reflecting on, what you're meditating on. And it gets you out of the overthinking mode, because that's what stresses you out in general, is thinking about a million things in 1 second. You're thinking about what you're gonna eat, you're thinking about what where you're planning to go, you're thinking about your career, your business, your money situation, your family. You're thinking about a lot of issues that you're going through life. And in that act of thinking, you're losing calm and peace in your life, because you start to feel anxious and you start to feel worry and you start to feel fear. So that's the first reason why meditation and silence is good for you. The second reason, it brings you closer to your creator. And the reason being is because when you really focus on what the creator has created, I mean, look at the sky. Usually you look at the sunset and maybe the sun and the sunrise, and you look at it, oh, that's beautiful, what a beautiful view. Or you're looking at the sea and you're thinking, that is so beautiful. But actually use that next time you're looking at the sunrise or the sunset or looking at the sea. Use that as an opportunity to get closer to your creator by asking yourself, how was this created? Ask yourself questions. How was this created? How did this sea come to be? How did the sun rise? How does it rise every single morning? How does it set every single afternoon? All these questions, it gets you to a state of not only curiosity, but then you get closer to your creator instead of looking at something that is given. Because every day the sun rises and the sun sets, you look at it as it's a given, instead of asking yourself, how does it happen actually? Be curious and meditate on that, because every time you do, it takes you from just something that something that's simple, something that you see every day, to the thing that gets you closer to your creator, the thing that gets you to appreciate what the creator has created, to appreciate the beauty that he has created on earth and in the sky, to appreciate the trees, the ocean, the mountains, the rocks, everything around you. And the more you actually meditate on that, the closer you are to him. The reason number three on why meditation and silence is good for you is that it increases your ability to observe your surroundings. And this one is by far, if you constantly are someone who meditates, you're going to notice that you're observing things around you more, you're paying attention to details more, you're looking at how people are talking and the way they're behaving, you're looking at specific things maybe you might not have paid attention to in your family, or specific traits that you might not have noticed maybe in the people around you, let's say your neighbors, or when you're walking down the street, you're noticing things in a different light. And actually, that becomes a strength because we're so focused on talking back to people instead of taking that space of just being silent and observing, because you notice way more if you're just silent and you just observe people around you. You observe the way they talk, you observe how they're behaving, you observing even to the extent that you can even tell how they're feeling and their emotions, because you're not in that space of I'm going to respond, I'm going to say this and that. It just gives you that space of taking a step back and and literally just staying silent and observing. And I know in the beginning it'll be challenging, but the more you actually meditate, the more you'll get good at it. And just like walking, there was a time that none of us could walk when we were kids. And it took practice. You walk and then you fall, and then you stand up and then you fall, and then until you eventually are able to walk. So it's the same thing with the meditation. And the more you do that, the more you're in that position where you take time for yourself to stay silent during your day, the more you're able to observe your surroundings and notice things you've never noticed. And it will give you more appreciation of those people around you. It will give you an appreciation of yourself. You'll start to appreciate what you have. You can even learn from other people's lessons, because you will start to observe certain things about them, and it will cause you to meditate on the lessons you've learned, and this will give you better perception and a better perspective in life in general. Reason number 4, and this one is really, it's really the shift. I would say that this is literally by far from the list is the shift, because once you get to this one, you'll be able to change a lot of things in your life. And reason number 4 for why meditation or silence is good for you is that it increases your ability to self-reflect. And when I say self-reflect, you'll be able to look within yourself and realize, okay, what are my strengths and weaknesses? What do I need to improve within myself? How do I get better? How do I get better at specific, let's say you want to learn a specific skill. How do you get better? How do I get better at, let's say, learning, for example, learning a language? You start to learn exactly what you're good at and what you're not good at. You're looking within yourself and you're like, how do I maximize my strengths? Once you learn to, once your ability to self reflect increases, you'll be able to notice your strengths better and work in that area of strength. And by that, I mean maximize your strength by constantly being in situations, and by constantly being in situations where you're improving, you're learning, you're capitalizing on that strength, and also at the same time working on your weaknesses and looking at the areas you need to improve in. And for example, when you start reflecting on yourself, you might realize that you get angry quickly. So you start to work on that. You start to work on self-control. You start to work on self-confidence. You start to work on you handling criticism, and then maybe you move on to another habit, you move on to some another fit another behavioral trait. Maybe you're someone who's selfish, then you start to work on maybe giving people back more. You're focusing on other people first instead of yourself, and so on and so forth. Like every time you look at every time you look within yourself, you'll find opportunities for growth, and you'll find opportunities of self improvement and improving those weaknesses. And the more you self reflect, the more your ability to self reflect increases, because even to the extent that you go through a difficult situation with a person, and instead of focusing, okay, this person was wrong, he did so and so, he did not understand me, he did not listen to me, you start to look within by meditating and saying, okay, maybe there's something that I have done that I need to change. What could I do better next time? And then when you start thinking that way, you start reflecting, you you start becoming a better version of yourself, and your ability to self-reflect increases. And the more you do that, the more you'll notice a huge shift in who you are, your personality, the way you think. You might even notice people around you telling you you've changed, because this one, this one by far is the one that I've actually personally followed through with, and I've noticed a huge difference when I've actually done this. So the final reason and the fifth reason why meditation and silence is good for you is that it increases your awareness overall. And when you start when you start getting into the habit of meditating more and being silent, your awareness of things around you increases, your awareness of people, your awareness of yourself, your awareness of your own thoughts, your emotions, your behavior, the words you use. You start to pay attention to little details, and this actually makes a huge difference on in who you are as a person. It makes a difference into the kind of relationship you cultivate and the ones you do not cultivate, because you'll start to notice, okay, this person is really, really good for me, because this relationship is giving me is giving me what I need, and I'm also nurturing this relationship. So you focus more on that kind of relationship. And then maybe other relationship, you realize that this person is actually toxic, and that person makes me feel some type of a way. That person brings out the worst version of me. And then you start to evaluate that relationship, whether you proceed and move forward or you just cut them out of your life completely. So take time during your day to be silent and get away from all people and distractions. Because we're so connected 24/7 on social media, we're connected on WhatsApp and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. We we're always looking for distractions to avoid our emotions and how our day is going. It affects our mental and emotional state in the long run. So I urge you that if you're really new, or if you've never done meditation, if you're new in this, and if you've never done meditation or stay silent, try at least maybe taking 15 minutes a day to remove all distractions, get away from people around you, your family, your friends, and just go in your room and just sit in silence. Switch off your phone or put your phone in another room, so you're not tempted to open social media or just talk to people in general, and slowly build up. Personally, like, I think one experience that I've really tried that was really impactful and made a shift is the 3-day silence, where I've disconnected from my family, I've disconnected from my phone for 3 days, and just focused on, in those 3 days, I was just so focused on my relationship with the creator. And this not only impacted my relationship with my creator, but also it impacted a lot of the things that I've mentioned earlier. So if you're not able to do that straight away, you can try 15 minutes and slowly build up, and then maybe half a day, and then maybe you take 1 day, and then maybe 2 days, and then you build up, and then you make it part of your lifestyle. And maybe you can do that even once a year, because you'll notice a huge shift in your mental and physical, yeah, mental and emotional well-being.